So they referred the case to United Nations. After when Britain referred the case to United Nations, in 1947, that's when the resolution took place. And in May 1948 is when Israel was born. So here, what we're saying is, you're saying I don't accept the United Nations, but the irony of that is, you're saying you don't accept an organization that actually had it not been in existence, had it not put in the resolution, Israel would not exist in the first place.
So do you believe the resolution brought Israel into existence?
I believe that without the resolution, Israel would not have come into existence in May 1948.
Okay, so I think we're saying the same thing. I believe...
Do you accept this?
So I'm just going to say what I believe.
Do you accept that?
I'm trying to answer. My understanding is Israel came into existence when they declared independence. The United Nations has no power to create a nation. That's not its function.
I'm not saying it is its power.
Yeah, what they have,
remember you had colonial masters.
What they have the ability to do is to define global consensus. And at that point there was global consensus to recognize Israel, and Israel declaring independence is actually...
What about the global consensus that we should have a Palestinian territories?
So, again... You're looking like you got me.
No, I'm just wondering because now you're...
I've never said, when have I ever said there shouldn't be a Palestinian state?
Pardon?
When have I ever said there shouldn't be a Palestinian state?
Okay, so you do believe a Palestinian state?
So I just said, my outlook for the solution, my solution is that I don't know whether it's one state, two state. If the Palestinian state...
You're fumbling all over the place.
Let me listen.
You don't know what you believe.
If a Palestinian... No, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe the two-state solution from the bottom of my heart with incredible passion until I actually started visiting the West Bank and realizing the reality of what that meant.
What is the reality? What did you find?
Article 6 of the Palestinian National Charter says that any Jew that wasn't living there before the Zionist conquest, which most legal experts interpret to mean 1917, will be driven from the land, will be thrown out of the land, yeah? So you've got 500,000 Jews living in the West Bank, not ignoring Jerusalem, which you consider to be an international city. 500,000 Jews living in the West Bank.
What does the UN say about it? What does the UN say about Jerusalem?
Can I just finish my point? 500,000 Jews living in the West Bank will be ethnically cleansed. If a two-state solution means making 500,000
I don't know how you can say ethnically cleansed.
Because they're cleansed because they're Jewish.
By whom?
By the Palestinian National Army.
Come on.
Listen. Can I make a point without you like patronizing and talking down to me?
Under the Palestinian.
Let him say what he wants to say. Go ahead.
There are 500,000 Jews living there. The Palestinian National Authority, in Article 6 of their national charter, state that any Jew that wasn't living there before 1917 will be thrown out.
What Palestinian National Charter?
The Palestinian National Authority's charter, Article 6. Google it. Anyone
Wait,
can look it up.
What are you talking about?
So the Palestinian National Authority, the PLO, had a charter which they reconfirmed in 1967.
So hold on. Are you talking? Because here, look. This is the kind of equivocation that causes me to be confused.
Okay.
Because your initial criticism was not to the PLO. You had a long discussion about Hamas.
I'm not singing the praises of the PLO. I think the PLO are a treacherous organisation.
Okay, fine. So what's the issue here?
The issue is that the PLO, or the National, it's now Fatah, have explicitly stated that they will, what I consider to be ethnically cleansed.
Wait a minute, you're talking about ethnic cleansing?
Yeah.
No, but that's...
What do you call removing someone from a land based on their religion?
But hold on, because here, this is something which actually academically has been written about. And this is something, a term that has been used in conjunction with the Israeli operations. So hold on, because I find it really interesting, right? That you're using the term ethnic cleansing.
That's what would happen.
In conjunction, hold on, it's not what, you can't predict the future like that.
No, that's what the charter, you can only go by what Article 6 of the charter says. And anyone
you can't only go by this.
1967.
No, but hold on. You and I both know international politics doesn't work in that way, all right? You don't understand the basics of geopolitics. That if you had, for example, a Palestinian state with Jewish people in it, the moment such ethnic cleansing could even be conceivable is the moment all of the foreign powers will be involved.
That's what already happened when Jordan conquered the West Bank. They ethnically cleansed the Jews.
No, this is not correct.
That's absolutely correct. Jordan enacted a law which forbade Jews from being citizens of Jordan, which is why you have no Jews living in Jordan today, and you have no Jews living in Palestinian Authority-controlled areas of the West Bank, Area A.
What is ethnic cleansing?
Okay, if you've got an ethnic minority, or they can even be a majority, you have an ethnic group which is driven from a land because of their ethnicity.
That's not cleansing.
That is, you're confusing genocide if you're going to say killing. Genocide is the slaughter Ethnic cleansing is driving someone from the land.
Not necessarily. It can combine the two themes.
Okay, fine, but I'm talking
Okay,
about ethnic cleansing. A definition of ethnic cleansing is driving people from a land based on their ethnicity.
So you've just made a claim that Jordan ethnically cleansed the
Jews. The Jews. When Jordan conquered the West Bank, they enacted a law which said that Jewish people are forbidden from residing or having citizenship in Jordan.
No problem.
Which they then
so that's what you consider ethnic cleansing.
Can I just finish my point?
Yeah.
Jordan conquered the West Bank. Britain recognised it. It said the West Bank is now part of Jordan, and they banned Jews from living there. The Palestinian National Authority the PLO continued this prohibition, which is why to this day there is not one Jew.
So if you consider that ethnic cleansing, so now you're saying a restriction on the Jewish mobility in and around the West Bank area is tantamount to ethnic cleansing.
No, I'm saying the reality today.
Is that right?
Irrespective of whether you think the Israeli Jews should be in the West Bank or not, the reality is today they're there. And if you believe,
can I
just finish?
Yeah, of course.
If you believe that the moral solution to the problem in the Israel, West Bank, Palestine, call them what you will, if you believe the solution is to create 500,000 Jewish refugees, that's ethnic cleansing, and it's not moral. It's not a moral argument.
But now you're creating a straw man.
It's not a straw man. That's
no, because if you believe, that's a conditional that has no relevance to my position.
So the Palestinian National Authority's charter, the PLO's charter, which was reconfirmed in 1967, explicitly states this is what they're doing. This is not a straw man.
You're going back a good 40 years ago to make a point about what a charter says.
How many Arabs live in Israel?
How many Arabs live
in Israel?
You tell me, man. You're the Israeli one.
Yeah, there's over 1 million, between 1 million and 1.6 million.
Okay,
somewhere within that range. 20% of the population are there. How many Jews live in areas A of the Palestinian-controlled territory in Gaza and the West Bank?
Is that how you create? Why do they need to live there when they've created settlements there, my friend? They've taken the land over. What are you talking about?
They refuse. They're not allowed to live in the land. It's a continuation of Jordanian law. The Jews aren't allowed to live there.
I want to ask you a simple question. The settlements that are being built now in the West Bank, what is your stance on them?
So that's how we start the conversation. Perfect. And I asked you to define what are the borders. If you can tell me what the borders are, I'll tell you what my position on the settlements are.
What are the borders?
Okay, so for me, there are no borders. That's the problem.
Okay. Now we understand your position. There are no borders.
Yeah. So what are the borders?
So is Gaza not part of it as well?
No. So why are there no borders? Why don't you be clever? Why don't you ask me why there are no borders? Spooky.
No, go ahead. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is the 1949 armistice line. Do you know the difference between the pre-67 border, the Green Line, and the 49 armistice
With the Golan Heights and these things in addition?
They're basically the same thing. And so the 1949 armistice lines are the agreement with Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the agreement with Jordan was a temporary ceasefire. Yeah? Both Jordan and Israel categorically stated at the time of making the truce that this is a temporary ceasefire. Yeah? East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem never existed. There was no such division as East Jerusalem or West Jerusalem. Yeah, we can agree that.
No, we can't agree that. Listen.
No, we can't.
Hold on. I'm not talking about Jerusalem now because you've gone into a minutiae. We're talking about the generic.
You said the whole term East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem.
What do you mean there's no borders? What do you mean by
that? The whole agreement between Jordan created East Jerusalem. It created West Jerusalem. It created the West Bank. What's the West Bank of? It's the West Bank of Jordan. The East Bank is Jordan.
My question to you is, you've just made a statement that there are no borders. My question to you is, what did you mean by that statement?
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to tell you.
Go ahead.
Israel and the Palestinians have never agreed to borders.
So what does that entail? What does that mean?
So it means that they have to sit down and negotiate what the borders are. And for you...
Okay, hold on. Now we know, okay, as Thomas Hobbes says, covenants are but words if they're not backed by swords. That's what he said, yeah? We know that in a situation, from an international relations perspective, where you have a stronger power versus a weaker power, in this case, no doubt, Israel represents the stronger power.
Israel is the weaker power. It's surrounded by Arab states that want to destroy it.
No, wait. No, they're not. No, they are not. No, they are not, bro.
Really? So
yes,
Israel...
Yes. No,
okay, just do a quick little Muslim count. How many people here would like to see Israel gone tomorrow?
Hold on. Joseph, please. You're not an ignorant person, okay?
Thank you.
Egypt do not want the Egyptian government.
Thank you for the clarification. What about the Egyptian people?
Forget about the Egyptian people. They're not in control of anything.
No,
the military. Listen carefully, my friend. The Egyptian people are not in control of the military complex, nor are they in control of the government. The Egyptian government cannot be said to have a stated objective at this present time of wanting to destroy Israel.
And why is that?
Because they're in alliance with the Americans, who are in alliance with Israel.
No, but it was actually before the alliance between the American, who negotiated peace?
Who negotiated 1973.
Peace? No, but who, I think it was like
Sadat.
Yes, exactly, Sadat.
Okay, so here, anyways.
Begin,
yeah,
and they
Begin,
negotiated
yes.
peace, and they gave away land. They gave away land.
It's not their land. Sinai was never part of Israel.
We're going round in
No,
circles.
but you say give away land.
If you attack me, yeah?
Yes.
You attack a nation,
Yeah.
and you lose that
No,
war,
I want
and
you to
lose
no,
the land.
hold on. I like what you just said there. If I attack you and take your hat, which is a nice hat, yeah? If I attack you and take your hat, and then put it on my head, yeah? And then afterwards I give it back to you. I say I'll give him back land. I'll give him back your hat.
If you launch an attack on me and take my hat and lose your hat in the...
Listen, no problem.
I mean, it's not going to happen. You're a big guy. It's like, I can't even reach your hat.
No problem. No problem.
Go for it. Go on.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Although the option is always available for MMA.
I'm going to say, do you advocate just on that?
Listen.
Why do you guys always call out Tommy Robinson for violence? You stoop to his level. You're like, I'll
Maybe
fight you
you're right.
MMA. It's wrong. You like,
No.
be a bigger man. I mean,
We're just using
excuse the
it.
pun.
We're just using it to get views and subscribers, which we've achieved. Anyways, I was going to take a step back now and say to you, listen, it depends on the premise. I haven't got a problem with what you're saying. In fact, let me be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
If you say to me, I believe in not just war theory, I believe that, whatever, you take the land, you win in war. So fine, if that is your premise, that you take the land that you win, hold on.
saying that's what's happened in history.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's a morally acceptable premise. If that's your morality, then you have not contradicted yourself. Do you understand? Because you're saying that if the situation is that you take the land which you win in war, then ISIS is justified. No problem. You and ISIS, and you and, let's say, the Native Americans have been expelled from their land and genocide has
How was
happened.
the Rashidun Caliphate? Did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
How was that born?
The Khulafa Rashidun.
Yeah.
Expansionism.
And how did they acquire that territory?
No, we
With
this
swords?
is what I'm saying to you. Listen to me carefully, yeah? I'm saying to you, now this is another equivocation. Why? I am saying if you believe, right, in a war, in the land that you get from war, if you believe in that theory, yeah, no problem, yeah? You can say that. However, I would put to you, even then, that the way Israel was born was not through war. It hid behind the colonial master of the United Kingdom, who then assigned that land to them.
Well,
so it wasn't your war that you won.
The last time we spoke, what did we speak about?
What?
We spoke about the King David bombing, yeah?
Yes.
Does that sound like Britain was the colonial power supporting the Israelis? Britain refused to vote in the vote. Refused to vote in the UN.
Sorry. Tell me what you mean by this.
So there was an underground force in Israel that was basically the Irgun that were fighting the British, for Jewish independence, yeah? And so at that time, Britain wasn't supporting Israel. When it came to the vote at the United Nations, Britain wasn't supporting Israel. When do you think Britain was supporting?
No, it oscillated.
When,
in my opinion, it oscillated.
So when were they supporting?
So, for example, there were times, like we said, I think it was Clement. It was Attlee. It was Clement Attlee.
What you're going to say?
But no. It was Neville Chamberlain.
Neville Chamberlain? When?
Yes.
That was before the war, mate.
Yeah, it was before the war. Neville Chamberlain, he wrote in a white paper in 1935. Okay. In 1935, check if I'm right. So write Neville Chamberlain, see when he was in power. Neville
Stanley Baldwin, actually.
Neville Chamberlain, 1935, produced a white paper. The white paper said in it that the Jewish people were going to have their own land. Yeah, basically that. Is that right?
37 to 40.
Okay, so it might have been like, when was the white paper?
Which paper? The Peel? There was lots of white papers.
When was the white paper? No, the one.
1936 white paper.
Yeah, it was in 1936.
Which limited Jewish immigration to the mandatory Palestine. That was the word.
Okay, so that is when it oscillated from. That's when it oscillated from the whole Balfour thing to the white paper.
So you're saying the white paper was okay? I
Do you get
agree
it?
with that.
So what I'm saying is that the British policy, it oscillated between promising Israeli, or not at that time, but Israelis, the Jewish people land, and promising sovereignty and limitations of immigration to the Palestinian people because they saw that they were the majority, like in the white paper, yeah, wasn't it?
Churchill was the one that authorized the white paper.
You authorized it?
It was Churchill. Yeah.
No, but then that white paper was repealed. And then afterwards, after all these terrorist attacks took place, the Urgun and these things, that's when you had, when did the King David attack happen?
I think it was
46.
1946. 1946. So the King David attack is not a coincidence that the King David hotel attack happened in 1946, where this under